What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Throwing Breaks. I'm Al King, aka Big Al, and on today's episode, we're going to learn what is a card break, what is a box break, what does it mean to be in breaks. We're going to have our first guest appearance of the season. It's one of the breakers that I know. His name is Jags. I work with him as well. Great interview coming up with him. And last, we're going to figure out how much your cards are worth. That's probably the most common question that I get from people that are new in the hobby, or even just not even really in the hobby, but say, hey, I stumbled upon my dad's collection and he has XYZ cards. How do I know what they're worth? And a lot of people fall into the trap of what it's listed for versus what it's actually selling for. And I'll get into that in detail on the back end of this episode, so stick around for that. What is a break? What does it mean to buy into a break? What is a card break? Why is it called a break? What are we breaking? I don't want to break the card. Why are we breaking a card? So to put it in layman's terms, right, there's three different levels. There's cases, box, and packs, okay? Stick with me. You open a case that is full of 12 to 20 boxes. You break a box, which is where it comes into the group box breaks that we're about to talk about, and you rip a pack. You rip open the wrapping of a pack. Don't ask me why. It's just a terminology that we use now. But what the heck is a box break? If I wanted to get into a box break, what do? What does that even mean that I'm doing? Breaking became popular amongst the hobby and collectors the moment boxes started to go way up in price, to the point where your average customer, your average American, your average Joe, whatever you want to say, wasn't able to go out and buy a hobby box like we used to be able to and take it home and open it for fun and find what you're looking for and not have to break the bank. Hobby boxes, like, I don't know, 20x'd. They went way high. You could get boxes for $200 to $300 that are now like $1,800 a box. So along came the idea of breaking, and it's where you take yourself and a group of other people, go into a breaking room, and I'm going to pull up a breaker room here soon. I'm going to check in with Hama Blez on Blez Sports Cards. We're going to peek on his live stream. He doesn't even know I'm doing that. But we'll take a look at what it looks like once I'm done explaining. So you plus, let's say you're buying in a basketball. There's 30 teams in basketball. Each team has a price next to it, and it's called a pick your team. So one team would be $40, one team would be $18, one team would be $199, one team would be $25, and it equals basically the amount of what the box should sell for. So it's your way of getting in on a box where you can get a big card, a massive card, for very, very low, right? On the lower end, instead of going out and buying a box for $1,900, you can get 3 teams for $120, and hopefully you hit. There's also the entertainment aspect of it, which I think a lot of people really love that part. You're with a community of people, like-minded people, all in the card collecting atmosphere, and you all get to kind of hang out and chat, live chat, everything. It's a fun experience, really. And like I said, we're gonna pop in and take a look at Hama Blez right now on Blez Sports Cards. So as you see, like I was saying, on this screen here, there's spreadsheets, and next to the name, there is a number, and that is how much that team costs in that break, right? So this is Blez Sports Cards. It's a company that I work for right now. I'm breaking with them. This is Hama Blez on. Jags, the person we're going to interview coming up, is also a breaker with Blez Sports Cards. They're one of the best. They're one of the top breaking companies in the whole industry. I'm very fortunate to have broken in with them, and I'm loving every minute of it. So, but that's just, I wanted to show you guys, when he had the spreadsheets up, that's how you get into breaks. And then eventually he starts opening up the box when it fills, and like I said, everyone gets to hang out, chat, watch the box get broken. If a big card comes out, it's like You look up break videos, or maybe I'll give some and we'll add it into the episode. But look up break videos. People lose their minds when big cards are hit. The breaker loses their mind. The people in chat lose their mind. The person who hit the card loses his or her mind. It's bananas, really, is the only way to put it. And it's a lot of fun, and it's the entertainment aspect, I think, that helps the idea of community and box breaking. So hopefully that answered the question of what the heck does a break mean. I get that question a lot. But yeah, it's essentially a cheaper way to get in on a high-end box. There you go. So going from breaks to a breaker, I was able to catch up with Jags earlier this week, and we kind of talked about a little bit of everything, right? We talked about his nickname. We talked about how he got into breaking. He was a buyer first, then transitioned to breaker, and we look a little bit at his PC card. So without further ado, Jags. What's up, guys? I got Kevin McGee here with me, a.k.a. Jags. Kevin and Jags, they make no sense. Why the nickname?
Well, what happened, I started breaking in, with Blez when they were on Breakers TV, and you have to create a name on your profile. So I happened to buy the Jags quite a bit. I was a big fan of the Jags. So basically, I was just Jags 2020 because I thought the Jags would win it in 2020. I just made up a generic nickname, and I was actually on Breakers TV one night with Blez, and then I jumped over to YouTube with them because they're on YouTube. And as soon as I got in, S1E2 Scott, he's like, Jags 20, and then just stuck. That's it. So that's been the name ever since. So nothing special. It just happened to be a catchy name that S1E2 really and C-Blez gave me.
Jags isn't short for Kevin?
Close, very close. Or it could be my middle name,
True. Didn't the Jags have Blake Bortles in 2020? You really thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl?
But they should have if the coach didn't shut them down. They just decided to keep kicking it to Brady. They thought they were going to win on solely defense, but Bortles was throwing bombs against Pittsburgh, against the Patriots. But, coaching decisions. They thought running in the fourth quarter and playing defense was going to work against Brady. Little did they know, it hasn't worked against anybody. So.
I have a Blake Bortles believer on my show.
Yes, you do. Unfortunately, yeah. I believe in a lot of guys who never worked out, but Bortles was one of them. I actually thought he was a solid quarterback, but again, against Brady, you just can't do that.
Obviously, he just did it this past weekend again.
Oh yeah, exactly. People are going to learn one day, but it'll be when he's retired.
If he retires.
Yeah, he's not retiring.
Hey, so what got you into collecting? How did you start? Did it start as a child? When did it begin?
I collected cards back probably in the early 90s. My sister, she was into the Cubs. And then, because I lived in Chicago, up near Chicago, so I liked Ryan Sandberg, so I collected all Ryan Sandberg cards. Then come like 95 is when I started collecting like Bryant Reeves, Oklahoma State, started collecting all his cards. Street of Raheem, became a Grizzly fan. And then honestly, from then on to like 2001, I just collected guys I liked. Because the cards really didn't have value like they do today. So then in 2001, when I turned 21, basically, like I had a life, a kid. Last 20 years, I didn't do a lot of it. Then come with this last, 2018, 19 class. I started really watching more basketball again, getting in the breaks with Blez. And, come 1920, I decided I was starting to collect Rui. And I started collecting a lot more then because honestly, all the breaks I was getting in, the values of the cards just spiked up tremendously. So at that point, it just became fun because you can profit off some, you can collect your players, you can have fun with it. It actually had a lot of sustainable value in a long term now because there's now a higher floor than there was years ago.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned Rui. Why the infatuation with Rui?
That was actually C-Blez, Chad. 1920. I wasn't really as into basketball, so I asked him. I said, "Hey, what mid-level team is good?" And he actually said Rui. Because he's got the Japanese market. He's a good guy to collect. So I just started just buying the Wizards in every break, and then boom, from there, here I am, like the biggest Rui fan in the world. Apparently, I have a massive collection of Rui. So you probably thank Chad for that, or maybe I can not thank him for that. One or the other. Depends on what happens in the next few years.
You're without a doubt the biggest Rui collector in my life, at least.
Yeah, biggest one I've seen.
So you've been collecting quite a bit, and then you took a hiatus. I think a lot of us did that, right? I did similar to that, and came back during the COVID boom, maybe a little bit before. I actually I picked it back up in 2013 quite a bit. So I had some Mike Trout, some Manny Machados. Like I kind of got lucky in that year.
Oh
Um,
wow, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and I and
You
I,
held on to them?
I held on to them. Yeah, they were
Oh,
sitting
nice.
in a card binder because I had no idea what I was doing as far as preserving cards back then. But
Was that not the best part to go through is like your collection? Like once all of a sudden you realize, oh man, cards are super valuable again. All of a sudden you're flipping through your collection and finding like Mike Trout's, finding all these stuff in binders when you're like, oh my gosh, get them out of the binders, get them in the top loaders at that point,
yeah,
and then that's when the whole grading boom started. And then, we know how that went.
that was a really cool part. I mean, I didn't grade any of them, but I know like I flipped through and I saw Machado and I was like, I think it was right after he got traded to the Padres, maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was just like, wait, I saw this card is like worth something now. And I mean, at the time in 2013, I bought it for dirt cheap because cards
Yeah.
were pretty darn cheap then.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think I sold it for like $300, and I
Yeah,
was
no,
just
no, it's
very
great.
happy because I had
It
no
makes you
idea.
feel like a kid again. Yeah. It's
Correct.
like you're a kid again. That's what I felt like when I was digging through these boxes. I would spend hours on end at night digging through my common boxes,
Yeah.
finding cards that used to be worthless or 10 cents. They were like all of a sudden like $50. And you're
Right.
like, wow. And
Yeah.
a PSA 10, it's like 500. And you're like, I didn't even know I had that, Luca Court Kings or something crazy in there. You just pull it out and it's worth a ton of money. It's just amazing, honestly, how the card market has gone.
Well, I think part of collecting too for the older crowd, us, our area, our range,
Yep.
is the nostalgia, right? I mean, it does, like
Yep.
you said, makes you feel like a kid again. So I think it's a big
Well,
draw for us.
we have two areas of collectors really. The guys like my age, I'm 40, 42, whatever. And I collected as a kid and now I'm collecting again. So like you said, it's the nostalgia of the cards. Whereas you find the younger collectors coming in, it's about the money of the flip. It's about a game in a sense. It's about investments. It's about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that's why we'll have true PC pieces where some of
Mhm.
these collectors they really don't. They just buy cards with like a stock market mindset.
Sure.
I'm buying it because he could have 50 points tomorrow and I could double my money and get 100% return, and it's fine to have that mindset. That's actually what is driving the market in a positive way. Like we want that, but you also got to have collectors like us who actually enjoy collecting our cards,
Who will actually buy that card and hold it?
and hold it and not even
Yeah.
and actually not even have a price tag on it.
Sure.
Someone sells me something that's a PC piece, I don't really care like what
Right.
it costs essentially. Obviously, like I would say no to some things I have, but for the most part, if you really want the card, it's a PC piece. There's really no value point. There's no price point to the card. You buy it because you want it and you keep it. If you have the money, you just buy it. You don't care if 20 years down the road, if it's worth $0 or it's worth 5 million. Of course, we want it to be worth 5 million, but at the end of the day, we're buying it because it's a hobby.
Right. Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
what some people lose track of. Some people lose track of the fact that it's still a hobby.
That word itself, the hobby.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, so I know you've mentioned Blez a couple times. You've talked about being a buyer. I think everyone who's going to see this, mostly at least, will know that you break with Blez now as well. You and I both. That's how we know each other.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
what was that? What was that transition like, going from buyer to breaker, going from typing on a keyboard to talking to chat?
It was absolutely ridiculous, honestly. It was like night and day. I was probably the biggest jerk on the buyer's end. I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't hit any cards." I'd get so mad. I'd be pissing people off, and I would just be like mad. And then when I got on the breaker's end, I was like, wow, there's so much to do on that, and it's like you have a whole new respect for all breakers because it's not as simple as just like when you're buying cards, you just expect stuff. You're like almost like you're what's the word for it? You better get a card or like
You're
it's a
almost
break a spot.
spoiled. You're spoiled
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, you're spoiled. You're God, what the hell's the word for it? It's spoiled is a word for it, but you think you deserve a card. And it's like
Jaded,
you don't just
jaded maybe.
yeah, you just don't deserve anything, like in a sense. Like, of course, you're buying it, it's a risk. You're taking a risk on it. So
Yeah.
as a breaker, that's why I've pumped a lot of positivity because it is hard being on the other side. If you're positive about doing it and you have good vibes. I mean, that's why I always pump good vibes because when I was on the other side, it wasn't good vibes for me.
You
You
pump
know?
negative
Yeah,
vibes on the
I
other
pump
side.
negative vibes on the other side. So, but that's why it's been amazing because you got a whole new respect for the breakers because it's really hard. It's a lot of like you think it's not physical work. You're just flipping through cards, big deal. Well, it's like you're really just not. There's a lot of mental game inside of it of putting cards here in the sleeve pile, case pile. It's just a lot of stuff going on. Keeping up with chats. I mean, you just have a whole new respect for it. But the transition was definitely like night and day. But it's been a blast. I've been there like a year now. I think it's been a year. It's been a blast though. I've had a blast. Meeting good people and just enjoying what you're doing. You have to have fun doing what you're doing in order to do it.
Do you want to share how it came about? How you even joining Blaze became a thing?
Yeah, I was a big buyer in baseball, so I bought baseball a lot. And Hobby Hawk or whatever over on Buzz Baseball, he was doing his thing over there, and I bought a lot of Bowman with him. Well, I moved out here to Vegas, and actually Backer and Chad stopped by my house, and they were just saying what's up because I knew them from just buying, just like a friend in a sense, and so they stopped by and they're like, hey, you just want to come out and help Hawk like sleeve basically. I'm like, sure, I'll help him sleeve, and just did basically BS with the people because they knew I knew a lot of sports. I knew a lot about baseball, so just kind of go in and just do a show, kind of just talk with Hawk, talk about the cards, and then one thing led to another, and next I'm breaking cards, and now I'm doing basketball and football, and I'm on Buzz One all the time because I just kind of spiraled from there to it's been fun. It's been a crazy ride, but yeah, originally it was just to come on and help out, just case and sleeve. So it's been a wild ride, I guess I would say.
But so you moved to Vegas not for Blaze. You moved to Vegas for different things, and then you wound up at Blaze.
Yeah, yeah, correct. I basically just stumbled upon it. I didn't come here for a job. I mean, because I have my own. Well, I have my own business. I've been doing that for years, and I moved out here because my kid graduated. My dad recovered from cancer. So I said I got to get out of Indiana. It's cold. It's nasty. I mean, kind of like it is here in Vegas today.
Sure. Yeah.
Cold and nasty. It's like that day every day. That's why my allergies are acting up. But I just wanted to get out of the Midwest. I wanted to get out west somewhere, get to some warmer weather, and yeah, I did that, and I was still in the cards, and then I just stumbled upon starting to work there. Essentially, it wasn't even. Again, I worked there as more of a hobby at first. Now it's turned into more of a job, but at first it was more of a hobby. Going there, I enjoyed going it. I didn't even really need to be paid. Like it was like, oh, this is just fun. Of
Right.
course,
Yeah.
everyone wants to get paid for their time, but because time is money. But essentially, at the end of the day, it is a lot of fun going in there and doing it. It still is, but now it's more of a job, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not allowed to use that word around the office, though. It's not. It's a job.
Fun or job, either one. Uh,
Hey, so we talked about Rui already, but I want to just ask what your favorite, if you have some favorite cards in your PC that you can show off and kind of just
yeah.
give a story why they're your favorites.
All right, so I'll start with some of these just personal pieces that aren't really worth a lot. I mean, you got a Jordan Beam Team I pulled with a friend of mine, so it just holds a more important place. It's more of a hobby. These cards are priceless. Even this, it's just a goofy presidential card. It's just one of those things where
Is
it
that
holds
a relic? Is that a relic on the
yeah,
Roosevelt?
yeah, it's a word. You can't read it because it's FCG, but it's a written word POTUS, Franklin Roosevelt. So
Wow.
it's like a word. It's like a dumb card, but it just holds a different personal value
Sure.
because of who I had it with, who I pulled
It's
it
a
with.
true PC piece. What we were talking
It
about.
is a true PC piece. Yeah, yeah. It's like where I opened it, and then a couple other ones here. I mean, the Rui Color Blast because it was such a hard chase. Like if anyone, I'm sure you'll tag my IG on here. If anyone goes and looks at my IG, they'll see I have insane amount of Ruiz, but these two, the Color Blast and the Kaboom, because they were such a hard chase to get in PSA 10.
Yeah.
I only typically collect 9.5s or 10s. The next one here, I'll show. This was recently. He basically gotten for me. It's a huge card in the collection. It's the one of one Black Disco, and just essentially that it was basically gifted to me. That holds a different place, obviously, in your heart than it's something you had to go chase down. This one here was actually pulled by Backer of all things. We had a wild night of the Prism Asia, and I don't know how much money I spent that night, but I ended up pulling this card, 9.5, the Gold Shimmer Auto. I think it was number 5 of 10. But he pulled it for me, and I
Prism
sent it off, got
Asia,
it
you
graded.
said?
Yeah, this is from was from Prism Asia, right? Choice.
Wow. Yeah.
Prism Choice, yeah. So, so he pulled this for me that night, and it was great. I mean, it was literally a true PC piece before I even knew it, in a sense, because I had a whole bunch of his cards and ended up getting this. And this is probably the cream of the crop for myself here. This here is the Superfractor Keone Cavaco. He's a twin prospect. That's my baseball guy. This was actually, and you guys can go check out the video. It's actually pretty amazing. Hobby Hawk and Steve actually made the video. They actually pulled the card for me. I think it was Hawks one of his first nights at Blez, like his first week or two. It was actually the video's amazing. It
Wow.
actually like I'm sure people can go find that on Blez, but it's actually pretty funny. But they pulled it for me. So again, for reasons like that, because now I'm working with these people. I'm
Yeah.
working for Backer, and he pulled me this card. I'm working with Hobby Hawk, and and Chad's around. It's like those hold different meanings for you now. So to me, them are the best cards in my PC because I was chasing Kavako, and what are the odds that Blood Baseball is going to pull the one of one card that I was chasing? Like,
Right.
what are the odds? Like, there's so many other places who could have pulled it.
Sure.
Well, they pull it. Hawk pulls it for me, and it was a crazy night. I remember 3 in the morning phone calls from like Chad, like and I'm like, what's going on? Because you know how they yell. I'm like, I didn't know
Yes.
what's happening. I fell off my couch. I think I was like, what is happening? So, but yeah, no.
That's
So them
great.
are some of my main cards with some meaning behind it. Which is kind of cool. And in my opinion, in my opinion, that's what drives people's collection.
Yeah.
These cards I wouldn't sell for anything because there's meaning behind all of them. I don't care if it goes to $1 million. I'm really not selling the card unless I'm homeless. That's what I
Right.
always tell somebody. A PC card is a card you will not sell unless you're in desperate need of money. Simple
Yeah.
as that. Like, unless I need to pay my bills, I'm not moving these cards. I'm not moving them just because I can profit some off them. I'm not in it to profit off certain cards.
Yeah.
Certain ones will obtain along the way in a collection or whatever that will obviously sell because you got to get money to reinvest back into the market.
It's a little morbid. I usually say uh, almost everything I have in my collection is for sale except my Kobe cards. They're going to go to the grave with me.
Oh, that's morbid. Yes,
Yeah, it's a little morbid.
it's a little
Um,
morbid, but
but yeah, that just because a lot of people ask me for my Kobe cards, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
how I guess that's how I shut them down is saying that. So,
Yeah, yeah. How come you're not showing me your cards? Come on. I know I've seen a lot of them, which are pretty sick, but where's your cards handy?
but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have
Very
a
cool.
whole PC episode for myself. But here's
Well,
here's
give
a
me a
here's
sneak,
a
give me a
PSA
sneak peek.
9 Kobe rookie
Okay, there you
96.
go.
He's leaning against the wall. That's probably one of my
Yeah,
favorite Kobe's that I have recently picked up. My collection, I'm a broke boy collector, so
yeah,
my collection is as I get better cards, they're going to kind of move up my PC. But
yeah.
this is I chase this one forever. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh
that's
my
sick.
god,
Yeah. You know how many of them cards I had back in 95, 96? I was chasing Brian Reeves. A friend of mine who had passed away years ago. He
yeah,
collected LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. Every one of them, like all the good ones. I was
yeah.
collecting Bryant Reeves, Mike Bibby, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn. I was collecting all the bums.
Love those names,
It
dude. Love
was,
those
no,
names.
it was insane because I was so like later on in life, I'm like, damn, what the hell was they doing? Like, I know his sister, his family had all these cards. I'm like, I know they had LeBrons and Kobe somewhere,
Yeah,
like insane ones. He collected all those, and they weren't high end then. They were
sure,
just cards.
sure, correct.
So it's just amazing how that, and you never know nowadays. Same difference. We buy cards nowadays. You don't know when these cards are going to pop off. So it
Right.
doesn't matter if like, oh, this card's down in value. So what? 20 years from now, it could be Tom Brady or Jordan or
Correct.
like it could be one of these guys, and you really never know, no matter who it is.
Honestly true. It's honestly true. Hey, really quick before we hop off, tell the people where they can find you. Give us some social handles. Where you at 5 nights a week, 75 hours a day? Where you at?
Well, my IG is Jags 2020 with three S's, so it's JAGSSS 2020. You'll find me at least probably 3 to 4 days a week on Bluzz One on YouTube. So search what Bluzz Sports Cards, I think is all they search, right? And that'll come up on YouTube. And then if you want baseball, I'm not really on baseball anymore as much as I used to be, but search Bluzz Baseball on YouTube, of course. Then you can find Big Al on IG.
Yeah, they can
But
find me on IG, Blood
they
Sports
can find
Cards
you on
IG.
there, and
One word, no
they're calling
spaces.
for you on YouTube. They're calling for you over there.
They are.
But yeah, I'm on quite a bit, and I usually try to post, like when we're live and stuff. But obviously, follow Bluzz Sports Card on IG, and you're gonna get a good mix of who's on, when, where, and all the other above.
Yeah, and a Jags with three S's 2020 is a good follow on IG. I recommend. Follow
Yeah.
approved.
Yes, your PC collection. Everyone's PC collection feels better once they see mine. Once they see who I collect, because we're not all experts, man. We're not, we're out here breaking cards. We're just opening cards. Like, just
Correct.
because I think Rui Hachimura is a good buy, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Duke could be like Admiral Schofield tomorrow. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like we're not experts. Like, don't let any breakers, or anybody honestly feel like they're experts because none of us are. We're
Yeah.
just out here. We're out here playing the same game as everyone else. Simple
Well
as
said.
that.
Well
Yep.
said. Well, Jags, aka Kevin McGee, aka Jags with 3 S's. Thanks for joining me, and we should do this more often for sure.
Absolutely. I'm always down. Hopefully my allergies are better and I look a little bit more awake, more unzombified. But I appreciate you having me on, Big Al.
Yeah, later. You know, I love Jags, aka Kevin McGee, aka Jags 2020, aka whatever you want to call him. He's probably my favorite breaker on Blez. He's a few people's favorite breaker on Blez, I know. He's got this like calming, cool swagger to him. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but he puts on a great show. He hits good cards. He keeps the room moving. He has good conversation. Like he's a top notch breaker in my opinion, and I thank him for his time. It was a lot of fun sitting down talking with him. We shoot the breeze all the time at work. To paint a picture, I'm in the room next to him a lot. I'm breaking in one room, he's breaking in the other, and we'll leave the doors open and we'll just holler back and forth at each other. It's pretty fun. And LeBron Zions. That's for Kevin, aka Jags, aka everyone else that knows I do that. So I mentioned before we started that before the interview, that I was going to talk to you guys about figuring out how to know how much your cards are worth and what's the easiest way to do this. There's really two ways to do it. I'm going to show you the first way today. I'll probably show you another way, another episode, because I want you guys that are really trying to figure out what your cards are worth to take this step first. This will help learning a lot of different aspects of what cards are worth and how to figure out, like, okay, well, if that one is only worth that much, then this one's probably not going to be worth that much either. So I'm not going to really waste my time looking at all of these, right? Say you stumble upon your dad's collection or whatever it is. So let's get into it. I'm going to look up this card here. It's Jason Tatum. It is a rated rookie optic shock Jason Tatum. It's an HGA 9.0. HGA is one of the many grading companies that are in operation. I'll probably crack this and get it sent to PSA or SGC. But let's look this one up. 2017-18 Panini Donruss rated rookie optic shock. Okay? So to do that, we go to ebay.com. Okay? And now we're here on the homepage of eBay, right? Stick with me. We're going to search, like I said, it's a Jason Tatum. It's right there on top, but I'm going to retype it in. Jason Tatum, rated rookie, optic, shock. Okay? Search. Now you see, what people fall in the trap of all the time is, oh, wow, that's a $250 card? Because it's listed for $249.99 right here. Not the case, though. That's just what someone is asking for. That's what they have it listed for, hoping that someone would buy it for $250. You go down a little bit, $140, $80 non-graded, $90 PSA 9, right? So you go there and you see the listing is all over the place. The way to find it, don't fall for the trap of, oh, I got a $250 card. Oh, I got a $175 card. Oh, $150. You go down, right? Let's go back to the top. You'll scroll down on the left side all the way down to show only, and you're going to hit sold items. And now it pops up with sold items, okay? Now you look at this one. This is a PSA 10, so that's pristine condition, mint condition. This was a 9. Mine was a 9.0. You can't really see I'm small now, but mine was a 9.0 in HGA. This is $300. Only one bid, okay? So beware of that as well. Look at how many bids there are. If it's only one bid, it's probably fake. It's probably someone trying to inflate the market. Don't fall victim to that either, okay? So now we're looking here, ungraded $61, 18 bids. More true value. $37, 8 bids on a PSA 8. So mine was a 9 in HGA. the grading company is more, they're not as respected, I guess, as PSA. So the resale value of this card won't be the same as a PSA 9, but an HGA 9 should probably go for a little bit more than a PSA 8. So as I'm scrolling down here, PSA 9, $72, right? Okay, so now I'm looking at that like, okay, if a PSA 9 went for 72 as recent as November 10th, then my HGA 9, probably about a $60 card, $65 maybe dollar card. And you just keep scrolling down, right? And you'll see November 5th, a PSA 10, $217, 26 bids, okay? So you'll see that it's most important to know the value of your card by clicking the sold items. You know what? Let's do one more. Let's just do one more. Let's say, oh man, I just found my grandpa's collection in the attic, and he has a 1957 Mickey Mantle card that is pretty good condition, okay? So we'll look here. Let's just say it's, I don't know, we'll just say it's one of these cards. I'm just gonna go down, like I said, to sold or completed items. And let's see what Mick. PSA 1, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, these cards are old, they're damaged, but that honestly doesn't matter. It's a 1957 Mickey Mantle. 43 bids, $223. Okay, so these are things that you can go and look up, and that's how you do it. You go to the sold items on the left. We'll do one more. We're gonna go Mike Trout. Let's go what was his rookie year? 2013 Mike Trout. Sold items. Mike Trout, Topps Chrome, die cut, $15 sold, right? So let's say you find a Mike Trout. And what you really need to do, and I'm going to show the overhead one more time. What you need to do, the last step that you need to do is at the bottom of every card, it'll have the year and the brand type. So 2017-18 Donruss Optic Basketball. So if you're looking at a card that you found, you see Donruss Optic Basketball on the back, 2017-18. You look at the player name, Jason Tatum, you type that in. That is how you find out what your cards are worth. I hope that helps. Like I said, there's another way to do it, but this is the best way to start. It'll help you learn a lot of different ways to see what's on the market, see what cards are higher, what cards are lower. That was my throne tip. I think Nick will probably put it up over here. Huh, Nick? Over here. And I hope that this episode was better than the first. I love the interview with Jags. I think you guys all loved it too, I hope. And up next is Who Wore It Best with Kaylee Kirsch. And Mike and I want you to never forget. Don't forget how awesome you are. Mike and I definitely don't. See you guys.